on February 24th. And now I would like to turn it over to our two special guests. So I'll let Ronnie go ahead and introduce Leslie and welcome. And we're so happy you were able to join us.
Thanks, Mandy. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm the Yellowstone County 4-H Extension Agent, as well as the president of the Montana 4-H Foundation. So it is exciting today to be here and to interview our special guest. So Leslie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and kind of tell about your history and background in 4-H.
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here today from Corvallis, Oregon. I grew up in Montana. I was born in Cut Bank and then moved to Great Falls, where my 4-H career began. And I was a longtime 4-Her in Cascade County. The programs that I was involved with were clothing, dress review, which was called dress review at the time, junior leadership, demonstration. I was a camp counselor, and it provided me with what I like to call, or we like to call, the spark. I went on to college, first at Montana State, and then I transferred to Washington State, and I majored in apparel design and merchandising, and then went on to, I just discovered I liked research and the teaching piece, and went on to Purdue University in Indiana, my father was a 4-Her there, and a big 4-H family in Indiana. Got my PhD at Purdue, and then went on for a career that I taught and conducted research in apparel design and merchandising at Oregon State University for 30 years, and then started my own consulting business focusing on sustainable fashion. It was really when I was at Purdue that the idea of giving back to 4-H was put into my brain. There is an award in honor of my grandmother at Tippecanoe County in dress review. And when I was there, I was honored to be able to go to the dress review and see the young woman receive this award. And it was, oh my gosh, I forget how exciting that is. In Cascade County, when my father passed away, we established an award in honor of my father, and it's a junior leadership. So it's the top leadership award in Cascade County for a 4-Her. And we continue to do that, my sisters and I, with that award. When I came to Oregon, it was actually the mother of the young man who received the John Davis Award in Cascade County, who wrote a note to me and said, "You may not realize how important these things are, and I just want to tell you how important they are." And I went, I want to do more. So I contacted the Oregon 4-H Foundation, and I said, I want to establish a scholarship in my mother's name, and did that. And then decided that, the spark for me was travel. And so I've established a travel fund through the Oregon 4-H Foundation, and I'm establishing a travel fund for 4-Hers through the Montana 4-H Foundation. Going back to what's in my will and what's not in my will, part of it is there are specific things in my will, but I also have both the Oregon 4-H Foundation and the Montana 4-H Foundation as beneficiaries on accounts that, as there was mentioned, will not go through probate. So those just go directly when I pass. One of the things that when I worked with my attorney in putting my estate plan together, she asked wonderful questions. And one of them was, do you really want to wait until you die for any of this to happen? And I said, let's start some things now. And so I was able to do some current use with both the Oregon 4-H Foundation and also with Cascade County, and am working with Montana 4-H Foundation now to do some current use kinds of things. So that's a long introduction, but I think captured some of the ideas.
No, thank you. I think it's perfect. We kind of go back, we share the common interest of both being Cascade County 4-Hers and getting our own personal start there. The thing that I think is really interesting and I appreciate is your kind of your family legacy of involvement in 4-H and giving back, and whether that's awards or scholarship, endowment, or in your will. And I think those are really, really great examples of ways that people can think about, whether it's 4-H or whatever your passion is, or your spark, as you say, to determine ways that you can do that. And the idea that, you know, like your attorney said, how about now? What could you see now that would make you feel the value of that and those things, even before you die? And I think those are great things. So,
and I think that as you mentioned, there are so many different ways to give back, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. And it, you know, I think for me, of when I was asked the question, what would be meaningful for you, and what was your spark, and what do you want to spark in others? Part of this, I think, with my education background, I always said that my job as a professor was to create opportunities. And I think that that's the same kind of, okay, what kind of opportunities were meaningful to me, and how might that help 4-Hers in the future?
yeah, well, thank you for your connection of that and what that is. And the other part that I was just thinking was just even that your 4-H projects, and that's true for many of us, have led to our careers and our career paths and our passion and what that is, and the generational component of that.
So let me just add a little story there. I'll pipe in with a little story because, okay, I was in clothing and dress review. I saved all of my 4-H dress review. I have a little mini clothing collection, but I also have all the accessories. I have the fabric, I have the patterns, I have my record book with all of I know. And so again, what do I want to have happen to that? Well, that's actually going to, and this is in my will, with money, that's going to the Cascade Historical Society. And it has all, because it's from Cascade County. And so, and it's a tangible, so a lot of it is included in that tangible, but there's also a piece that this is the amount of money for the storage and for taking care of this, but it's my 4-H project.
That is awesome. I don't know if, Leslie, I'm going to move over just a minute. I don't know if you guys can see behind me here. These are items that actually I've had people come in my office here in Billings and say, you know, we were going through my mother's stuff. She recently passed away. Would you like this dress? And the dress is from 1950, which was the uniform of 4-H in Montana at that time. So I really love that. And I could have this collection. The jacket that's here is a grandfather whose granddaughter is involved in 4-H. And he wore that at the 1959 National Congress. And so we took pictures of him, his granddaughter wearing it, and with him recently at the fair, and have a little plaque there that we put up. And so so many great ways to give back and be involved in that. So probably we're about out of time, Marcia and Mandy. That was a great conversation. The only thing I would add is, you know, talk to your attorney, talk to the foundation you're interested in giving to. Jane Woolery is the executive director of the Montana 4-H Foundation. But also, if you go into your local county office or talk to 4-H folks, they should be able to direct you to that if that's a spark area of yours and a passion where you may want to give.
Well, super job. Great to meet you, Leslie.
Nice meeting you too.
Just honored to have you. And thanks a lot, Ronnie, for serving as our question person this morning. I got to throw in, Ronnie is a very busy person. And not only is she helping, you know, with this kind of thing, then she's also the ESP Epsilon Sigma Phi person who is working on our national meeting that's going to be held in Billings. And it's just really great to see. And she's doing the 4-H Foundation president. So I can't keep up with her, but I'll say hi and bye. And we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. And thanks again very much, Leslie, for joining us today and sharing that person. I love the story about you still have everything. And it's so wonderful that you left money so that they can do that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye for you guys. We're going to hang around here and see if there's some questions that people have. So you're welcome to join us if you like. Okay, Carrie, got a question or two, I bet.
Yes. So, do you need witnesses and a notary on your will?
If you have a handwritten will, you do not need to have the witnesses and the notary. But if you have a typed one, or you have a form that you bought on the internet, or the attorney, they're going to have you have 2 witnesses, because 2 witnesses are required. And then the notary is just that extra step to make the will self-proven. Okay?
Okay, next question. Do you have to contact charities to fill out paperwork?
The answer to that is no. But if you're going to make a significant gift, I think that would be a really good idea, because they could also tell you about some of the things we'll talk about next week, that there's the Montana Endowment Tax Credit, and you can do a gift annuity and save on your Montana taxes at the same time. But I'm like Leslie, I've got POD to some of my favorite charities, and a TOD on some stocks and bonds. And that way it just goes directly to them, and it's not a big deal. And sometimes you want to remain anonymous. So you can contact your favorite nonprofit and say, I want to do this, but the catch is I don't want any publicity about it. I just want to be able to do it. I want to be able to give back and help other people like I was helped in the 4-H program.
Can I just add one little thing to that? When I was establishing the scholarship for my mother as an endowment, and I looked at a number of nonprofits with regards to where to establish that scholarship. And the Oregon 4-H Foundation, I'm sure this is true of the Montana 4-H Foundation as well, had a very small, relatively small compared to other nonprofits, administrative fee. And so when I was establishing that endowment, more of my money went to, in fact, the program and exactly what I wanted that program to do, where other nonprofits had higher administrative fees, or there wasn't as much control over how those funds got spent. So it's just one thing to consider.
Leslie, I have an idea. You should write a mock guide on the questions to ask of charities before you make that decision, because that's really true.